If you want to live a life with more awareness and you want to feel like you are living with your values and you're creating from design rather than by accident, then one of the most important things you're gonna have to adopt is becoming aware of your inner state. But before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. Okay, let's go. We've all heard that our inner world creates our outer reality. As within, so without. If you're happy, your environment is going to reflect that. You're going to get the things that you want, you're going to be in a good mood, etc. If you're sad, your environment is going to also show that. You might not be getting what you want, you might have relationship issues, you might have career problems, all that kind of stuff. If you have ruminating negative thoughts about something, you might become depressed over time and you won't even know how it happened. It's just gonna happen gradually over time. Conversely, positive thoughts will uplift you in your everyday life. I'll refer to you paying attention to your inner state in this video as in you becoming aware of the different feelings, sensations, emotions, traumas that are arising inside of you. Whenever you have something that rises up inside of you, you want to put your attention on it and try to understand, what does it mean? Think of your feelings as a guidance system of sorts. It's giving you some kind of information and you don't want to discard it, you want to pay attention to it. Going inwards and trying to understand what these feelings and sensations mean will help you to evaluate and discern about different people and situations in your life. I'm mainly going to be touching on the negative emotions that come up. The trickiest thing in all of this is trying to understand what your body is telling you from the inside out in a way that is giving you information about your current preferences and values and whether they are being crossed, or is it that your past trauma is getting wounded? This is one of the hardest things to understand within yourself. Are the stuff that's going on in your body are coming from a place of genuine present moment and understanding that, hey, what this person just said doesn't work for me? Or is it coming from past traumas, so it's triggering something inside of you and you are now agitated as a result? Many of us carry unresolved trauma in our bodies. This could be something that happened to you in your childhood, or it could be a recent breakup. It could be anything that triggers a very strong emotional response inside of you. On the psychological level, we all carry some kind of wounds, resentments, and traumas from our past. Eckhart Tolle, the spiritual teacher, calls these the emotional pain body. This is a lingering emotion that you might feel stuck in your body, and it gets reinforced over time through your thinking. So the more you think about a problem or a past situation that you didn't like, that's going to trigger more emotions inside of you, which leads to more thoughts, which leads to more emotions. And it kind of creates this continuous loops. And many people live their whole lives like that, thinking and ruminating in their brain and getting all those feelings up about past situation, and then they go into a new situation and they get triggered all over again because they get reminded of what happened. The pain body can be dormant or it can be active. If you're very unconscious in your daily lives, you might be having this pain body active 90% of the time. If you've ever met a person that every time you see them, they keep complaining about something that happened to them 5 years ago, and they're still complaining about it and ruminating about it all the time. Every time you see them, they just talk about that same issue. Then you know their pain body is currently activated. And sometimes the pain body can remain dormant for many months and years until someone says something or does something that doesn't agree with you and a strong emotion comes up. That's how you know your pain body gets activated again. And it's important to understand that your thoughts often create your emotions, or they feed your emotions. So the more you're thinking about a past issue that you weren't happy with, the more of those feelings are going to come up inside of you that don't feel good. And so you're constantly going to keep yourself in this ruminating loop until you become more observant of what's going on inside of you. Part of it is not just paying attention to what's going on in your body, but also in your mind. So you need to pay attention to your whole being. What are you thinking about? And then what are you feeling? And are you present right now? You can reflect, you can journal, you can meditate, you can become more aware. We're going to get into those things in a moment, but I'm just still kind of getting to the point of why this is happening and how it's happening. This overthinking and ruminating can be a real issue, and it can even alter your personality over time. Over time, you may not even recognize yourself because you'll start complaining too much, or you'll stop being motivated to go after your goals just because something happened to you 10 years ago. So you have to be really careful. Think of a time when you were younger, before you had those 10 breakups. You were somewhat innocent, you were happy. And then what happens with age? A lot of people get jaded. For example, let's say you've been fired from your last job without much notice and without any explanation. And now you've internalized in your psyche that you're not good enough. You may think there's something wrong with you and your abilities. And if you're not aware of that this is happening, you might be going into your new job interviews replaying that script in your head that you're not good enough, and you might sabotage yourself in that new interview because you don't believe in yourself anymore because of that past experience. Same thing could happen if you had a really bad breakup. You can now go on new dates being all anxious and projecting onto the new person things that happened to you in the past. Really, projection is just distortion of reality when you are dumping on another person things that don't belong to them. This is your own stuff you got to deal with. So how do we start dealing with all of this? Well, the first step is awareness. Just become more aware of what's going on inside of you. Oftentimes, we look to the outside, to the external world, and we think that's the thing that's making me feel like that. We start blaming other people and situations, and we're not taking responsibility for how we feel and why we feel it. We just feel triggered and we think that's that person's fault. They made me feel like that. That is what is called victim consciousness. As I said previously, sometimes you'll get triggered in a certain situation, not because of your past trauma, but because it just conflicts with, the values that you stand for. But you still have to kind of understand what's going on inside of you to figure that out. But a lot of times it is some of that past experience, that emotional pain body from the past that is getting triggered. So you really need to pay attention and go inside of your head and your body to understand what's going on. Be conscious of your feelings and sensations. You don't even need to judge them so much. Just give some distance. You don't want to lash out at the situation. Just give some distance and kind of be with yourself for a little bit first. The main thing you don't want to do is repress things and just pretend it's not happening, okay? You want to feel your body. You want to let the sensations be there. You want to watch everything that's going on inside of you. There's actually a technique called the letting go technique, where you're basically sitting and you're just feeling things. You're not thinking about anything. You are literally just focusing on feeling the sensations that are coming up in your body. And this is a method of releasing past traumas, past emotional bodies, all that kind of stuff. So you're literally sitting there, and I've been doing this as well. I'm experimenting with it, where you do feel better right afterwards, because so much of our time is spent living in our heads and we don't realize how much is stored in the body from that. And so by you just feeling the sensation and kind of releasing things, relaxing and releasing things, that's really going to make a difference. There's another spiritual teacher by the name of Michael Singer who talks about a technique he calls R&R, which is relax and release. So whenever an emotion comes up, you just relax and release. Breathe into it, feel it. Yeah, you don't have to engage with it. You don't have to take some kind of action with it. You just kind of detach and feel it and let it pass through you. Let the problems in your life become your greatest teachers. And whenever you get triggered by something, go inside. Related to all of this, think of your emotions as giving you information. So you can also consciously think about why all those feelings are coming up and journal about it and try to dissect what is really going on here. And perhaps you will have clarity about a new decision, a new action that you need to take based on how you're feeling. When you become aware of your inner state, you'll be able to respond versus react. As Viktor Frankl once said, between the stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom and power to choose our responses. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So as I've talked about, part of all this is just seeing what's going on in your body so that you can understand what's going on, going inwards instead of blaming outside situations. And then the other part of all of this, and this is what Eckhart Tolle's books are all about, is just becoming more present and living in the now. If you really pay attention to the now, where you are right now, sitting right here, do you really have any problems going on right now? Not really. Almost all of our problems are psychological time problems. So it's things that happen in our past and things we're worried about that are going to happen in the future. So it's usually past and future. But in the now, if you are very present in this moment, there's nothing bad going on, right? Yeah, here I am recording this video right now. There's no issues, right? It's our messed up mind and our body that triggers us to believe something is wrong. So part of all this is becoming more present, living in the now. When you are speaking with someone, when you're spending time with someone, you are being present in that moment with that person. When you're going out to nature, when you're reading a book, whatever it is, it can be anything. You just want to be more present, and you want to catch yourself when you start going into a thinking loop, okay? Then that way you'll know that you are now running a program in your head that you're not aware of. So the more times you can become aware of that, you can slowly get rid of that noise in your head, and you're going to be more fulfilled. Being more present in the moment is very important, but I do want to stress that you don't want to use it as a spiritual bypass. As it's called sometimes, where people become too spiritual and they don't want to deal with situations in their life. They're like, oh yeah, don't worry about that thing. It's just be present, man. Everything's good, man. Yes, it is all good, and yes, be present, but you still have to deal with real situations in life and with people who are not going to be as spiritually as evolved as you are and me. Hopefully. So you still have to take the necessary steps and actions and deal with things in the real world. And then you want to let go. And then you can practice being more present in the moment without overthinking. That's all I got for you for today. Make sure you are paying attention to what's going on inside you. All right. And let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to me on just audio, that's cool too. Leave me a review, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.